Para mí vivir aquí es un lugar con paz, mucha calma, mucho amor. Entonces todo esto es mi vida.
I drive by the sea every day. The backdrop of the mountains, the blue lake. It is so beautiful and people enjoy it. People are proud. There are vibrant communities that live right next to the sea.
Really what makes it home is the fact that there's so many people out here. I have a lot of my close friends here, people who I consider family. I don't see myself leaving.
We produce 80% of the nation's dates here. It's a very unique place and special place. Even though it does get hot, harsh conditions create strong people.
There's this thing that happens when you come inside of the valley. There's an immediate spike in temperature. I've always associated that coming in, getting warm, now I'm home.
Home is realizing that you love a place, but that it's not necessarily great, but that you have the power to change it and make it better.
The Salton Sea, California's largest man-made lake, spans the Imperial and Coachella valleys and was formed in 1905 after a major engineering mistake. It's since become an ecological disaster, unfolding in slow motion because of its high toxicity levels and lack of natural outlets. This shrinking sea is exposing nearby communities to lung-damaging toxic dust and setting off an alarming health crisis here. But this story is not just about the sea. It's about all of the people who live here, who deserve clean air, water, and places to learn and play so that they can live long, healthy lives full of opportunity.
A lot of the issues that are around the Salton Sea especially are pretty much neglected and not really seen.
A lot of the communities that are around the Salon Sea are minorities. We do care, and we're tired of being pushed aside, especially the Salon Sea. We're being more vocal, we're learning, we're teaching ourselves and teaching our community.
For the first 4 to 6 years of my life, I lived in an apartment. At one point, my dad got hurt in his job, so he couldn't work anymore, and one thing led to the other. We lost pretty much everything that we had.
My family couldn't afford to live in a home. We lived in a mobile home park that was about 2 miles away from town. In order to get even the most basic necessities, food, catching a bus to come into Coachella for the doctor, we had to walk about 2 miles, and we did that even in the summer, even when it was 120 degrees.
My parents, they worked so hard for everything. I think they're the definition of resilience. They were able to get back on their feet. Even now, we don't have a lot, but what we do have, they make sure that we have enough.
I remember boarding the bus, and I asked the bus driver, why was it that we couldn't get a bus in the mobile home park where we lived? There were many of us who were walking to catch the bus. And he said that there was no ridership. I remember at that point just feeling how unfair that was, that there couldn't be transportation to people who didn't have other means.
I'd get in trouble at school because there'd be just people who were picking on the little guy. I always tried to, just stick out for whoever was not on an equal footing, I guess. And as I grew up as an adult, I learned to channel that into more productive ways.
I didn't even know that there was a world of people who could make a shift in the conditions that you lived in. I did not get exposed to that until I actually left the Coachella Valley. We should be exposing and talking about the importance of being civically involved at elementary all the way to high school. Not figuring it out once you go off to college, take a few courses, and then you figure out, oh, wait a minute, I could have done something this entire time.
There's something that my mother has always said, and she continues to say this to this day, is that their whole objective of coming to this country and then calling Coachella home was to give me and my brother the opportunities that they didn't receive. I was a junior in high school. We were running around downtown Coachella, across the street from City Hall. A woman who worked at City Hall, she offered us a summer job. The summer job was to videotape city council meetings. That summer and the following summer, we dedicated ourselves to making a little money. But at the same time, it was an opportunity, though, for us to actually learn about what local government functions were or weren't. We started paying attention. We started paying attention to the role of 5 individuals who were sitting up on this really fancy desk and the deliberations and debates that were happening about decisions that they were making that we understood impacted the lives of the people who lived in the city. And so that planted a seed. When we arrived to Sacramento, one of the top priorities for the people of our district, and I think we've been able to elevate that priority to become a priority for California, is the problem with the Salton Sea.
Yo soy mexicana de Michoacán, de un pueblo indígena, purépecha, y mi pueblo se llama Ocumicho. Toda mi familia, desde mi abuelita, mi bisabuela y mi mamá, cada una de esas personas pusieron, como decir, un granito de ellos para poder ser yo quien soy y poder hacer este activismo que hago, porque es difícil ser activista, pero si lo haces con corazón, con las ganas de que quieres cambiar a tu comunidad, todo se hace.
Yeah, I went to Coachella Valley High School, and then I eventually started volunteering with the Sierra Club, fighting for air quality. I didn't even know that there was an air quality management district. Sitting there, I learned, I guess, some of the game. There's people who go in suits who are paid by corporations to go lobby. And so, the opposite side is where we come in as organizers, as community. We go in, we're not representing a corporation, we're representing our friends and our family, our community.
I can say one of the reasons why I was interested in water quality is because the community itself from the Eastern Coachella Valley, there's a lot of trailer parks, and they were rely on wells to get their drinking water from. And most of the times there's a septic tank close to those wells, so the drinking wells become contaminated with whatever's on the septic tanks. And these trailer parks are usually residents or immigrant workers who don't really have a voice. I was raised in a trailer park, and still one of the occurring issues was that we received paper, and my mom didn't understand what it said. It was translated in Spanish, but it had very scientific terms. I read it, and I knew it because I was taking a class in college that it had human feces on it, and we couldn't drink from that water. And it's not the only area that has that issue. There's a lot of trailer parks along the area that have that same issue. We don't have an accessible drinking water, and I guess that was the reason that inspired me to want to focus on water quality.
For me, I as a young kid, I always looked up to the military because, pride, honor, courage. But one of the main things that I wanted out of this was being able to help people. And then that's me right there. See right there, Portillo. I started volunteering with Sierra Club when I was 14. I'm 20 now, and I recently got hired on as their organizer. VHC did help me build myself up with more skills to be a better organizer, being part of a youth participatory action research group to help the LGBT community. I myself identify as a lesbian. For me, it was very important that we got to bring some more of the proper research for the folks out here, because I'm one of the few people that are out here in Mecca. There's just so much fears here. Being able to do that research was very eye-opening, and it helped me realize that I'm not the only one that's out or knows who's different from the societal norms. Out of that research, VHC was able to create a Pride Festival for the Eastern Coachella Valley. We just had the second one this year, and it was great going this year and seeing folks who look like me, who are like me, and are not ashamed of it.
North Shore is about 11 miles from the city of Coachella. And people there, similar to my story, didn't have access to public transportation, didn't have access to go to school, go to a doctor, because of the lack of transportation. And in 2011, the community was already launching a campaign to get Sunline to expand the route that goes to Mecca into North Shore. And after a lot of work, the community was successful in doing that. But that was only the beginning for that community, because after they saw that they were able to expand a bus line, they started thinking about what's next. And the next project for them was a park. And again, through a lot of organizing community partnerships, we were able to get funding for the first park in North Shore.
Thank you to the folks of North Shore for organizing themselves for a period of years. This is a long time coming. They deserve this park just like any other community in the Coachella Valley.
The Salton Sea, the playa as they call it, is the area that is uncovered from the receding shoreline. Every kind of salt is settling to the bottom. And so when the water moves back, you have all that salt. It could be arsenic salt, selenium salt, salts of different chemicals. They stick to the dust, and then when they get picked up and can go into the air.
I feel like my heaviest role is really with creating the content and organizing the youth around the youth cohort and connecting those dots with the youth and what's happening at the state level.
I really like to learn, and I want to see what I can contribute to this. We sat down in a group, had meetings, talked about where this project is going to go, what branches are going to be, like advocacy. We're going to do some testing out in the Salton Sea, especially about soil, since we haven't seen much about that. The problem with the Salton Sea right now is we don't really see it as a problem. We don't know so much about it that it's, oh, the Salton Sea, well, that's where a bunch of fish are dead. That's where, you step in, you lose your leg. And we gotta really learn about this problem and dissect it to understand how to solve it and present those solutions to the community.
We don't expect them to become like full-on experts, but we want them to be able to articulate and then get them to start sitting at the table with these decision makers.
When I think about home, I think of the talent that we have. The opportunity is really untapped. I envision a place where it's a given that you don't have to jump through all the hoops. You don't have to prove that you're worthy. That the community is a reflection of our worth as a people, that the policies are ensuring that there is public health protections for all of us.
I see myself still in the Coachella Valley working with the water district because I feel there's some things that aren't being addressed, and I want to be representing the community and be their voice.
Don't be afraid to speak your mind and just do what you have to do to be able to get to where you want to be and to be able to help others. It's important to be educated and to be able to bring back what you learned to your community and be able to show them and teach them.
Systems need to know they are there. In making those investments in their community, we are telling them, you are worthy of these investments. You belong here.